All right, we are live.
Awesome. What's up, guys? Shawn Bowen, Full Circle Investment Group, and wholesalingoutofthebox.com. Back in here again for another lunchtime live with audio working. So, guys, today we are going to talk about cap rates and why they work, how they work, and how do you come up with them. I'm going to try to do this as best as I can with you guys without a visual because it's a lot of information. But the simplest way that I was ever taught was back of the napkin math. And that's the easiest way to try to keep this kind of dumbed down, simple, not waste a lot of time going over crazy numbers. So, guys, as you join us, when you come on, please click that little link. And that way we can see who you are and you're commenting on the show. And let us know where you're coming in from, where you're seeing the broadcast. And always leave comments here for us to help us. Remember, all this stuff that I share with you is information that I use, we use as a company. So there's probably different ways and different processes that other people use. This is just ours. So today we're going to talk about cap rates and what they're used for. So in short, a cap rate is just going to tell you the performance of a building, right? And the other thing would be you could look at it as like a percentage return on your money. There's a few different things that people call it, but the simple of ease in the multifamily world, and I'm just going to stay in what I know, which is under, let's just say 10 units. I'm not up in the big world and the 20, 30, 50 unit stuff. That's just not me, right? So I talk to what I know, and this is how we generate these numbers. So quick back of the napkin math would say if I'm going to buy a building and its net operating income is going to be divided by the purchase price, that's what a cap rate would be, okay? So the simple of ease here would be, and I think this is just without a visual in front of you guys, take your monthly income times 12 months, and then for simple math, we just 50% that, saying that those 50% numbers would include taxes, insurance, debt service, fix-up number, anything that it would cost to run the building, property management. There's multiple different things that people can add on to this, okay? So simple of ease with just 50% your gross income. And in this, let's just use an example of $10,000, right? So $10,000, we'll say half of that's going to go to operating expenses, and let's just say we net $5,000. So if I were to purchase a building and it was at, I'll do this on the calculator. So $5,000 is what I took home, and they were asking $120,000. Then my cap rate would be 0.041. So in this case, it would be a 4% return, right? Or a 4% cap rate. So that's the simple, or what we call back of the napkin math, to allow you to know quick numbers, right? So the way that I use this as an example for us as a company, let's say we've got a seller that has a, let's just say 4-unit building, and they want, I don't know, let's just say not $80,000 a door. Okay. So 80 grand times 40 would be $320,000. So most of the time we want a double digit cap rate to start with. We want to start in the 10s, go north, because by the time we truly get a profit and loss statement, we're probably going to dial back to the 7, 8, 9. Okay. So we want to start with a 10% cap rate to really just give us some easy numbers. Okay. So in this case, if this person wants us to buy this building at $320,000, then we would say that it has to net us $32,000 a year, because 10% of $320,000 would be 32 grand, right? So if you're doing this math, you'll start to understand it as you reverse engineer it, right? So let's just say the 32 is times 2, that would be $64,000. And then $64,000 divided by 12 months would give you $5,330, right? That's the total income each month. And then divide that by 4. Well, no, that's actually each unit. So that's saying that each unit was making, no, I'm sorry, that was right. Divided by 4 equals 1333. Confusing myself on the math. I'm not writing it down. All right, so let's take 332,000 times 2, 64. Okay, so 64 grand, $64,000 divided by 12 months. Yep, that's 5333. And now you divide that by each door. So you're saying each door is getting 1333 a month. Okay, there's your math. So it's saying that each door should be rented for or leased up for bare minimum 1333 to start getting close to your number. Now, that's just quick numbers, right? If you want to go the other direction, you can just ask ask the person that's selling the building, hey, how much you're asking for the building? Okay. And what are the leases? What does each unit rent for? Maybe in this case, let's just say they're renting for 900. So we'll use math of 900 times 4. And that's saying that we have $3,600 a month gross coming in. So remember, gross operating income, GOI. And then take 3,600 times 12 months. And you'll have 43,000. Right? That's your gross operating income. So this is the annual gross operating income prior to expenses of any sort. Okay. So if we 50% that, and we just say 43 divided by 2 is 21.5. So in this case, we couldn't buy this building for quick math for more than $215,000 all in, right? So these numbers, it equates to what cap rates are and how they're formulated and how you get to them. And as you're probably listening to other shows and other people, they will describe cap rates mean different things. Majority of the time, most people understand that it's a performance of a building, right? Which typically gives a return on investment. But it's an operating percentage of the building, right? And it describes what it's doing. So one building could be performing at 15%. And let's just say the next building to the next door is identical, but it could be performing at a 6 or 5, right? Maybe it's mismanaged. Maybe it's got lower rents. So it could be two identical buildings, same building, same layout, same everything, except maybe the property management's bad. The upkeep's bad. The units are not in good shape, right? So the lower performance. So this is what this cap rate does. It allows you to understand where you're going to make an offer on a property based on its performance, its current performance. So we could get into talking about pro formas. That's a little bit deep dive. And today we were just trying to focus on cap rates. So again, simple and ease, guys, is the cap rate is the number that is what shows the performance of the building. And usually double digits based on if it's an A, B, or C class building. So again, I'm always going to stay with what I know. And these are the numbers that I play with, which is under 10 units, under 20 units for sure. That's why I can speak to it. And these are the numbers that we've used when looking at stuff or trying to present it to a lender that we want to work with, or even trying to take it down ourselves, right? We have to know these numbers in order to even be able to start the process. So the funny part about this was the original reason we got this back of the napkin math mentality was the guy I was learning from. Literally, we were sitting down having some beers, and he was like, Shawn, you just brought me so much stuff, but it's just a lot of wasted time. So I need to give you quick calculations so that you don't send me things that are just not even going to get close to what we need to look at in order to fund it or even partner on it. So he literally took a napkin and wrote these numbers down on a beverage nap. And then that's why I call it back of the napkin math. So a very simple process to save tons and tons of time for you as the person that's either looking to find a building that has multi-units in it, to understand what you're looking at for a profit and loss statement. And then what do your numbers need to be when you do see that profit and loss, so you know where you're going, right? Like you have a direction, you know what you're looking for, and you know if you already aren't at this number, then you should be buying it at a discounted rate, right? So cap rates are very important to understand the existing performance. And then, of course, if you were buying it at the seller's asking price to what you would be buying it at based on that, right? For today's performance, for what it brings income wise after expenses based on what they're asking for. And it's actually a really good tool to go back to the seller, and show them like, hey, based on these numbers, it looks like today if I bought it based on these terms, if I paid, let's just say $300,000 of the one we were using, I'm getting like a 4% return based on purchases of that number and all in cost, and then what it's currently rented for. And then you'll also get a lot of people telling you, hey, you could rent it for this and you could raise the rents and you could fix this up and fix that up. But the problem with that is that's future value. That's not today's value, right? So you can't buy a building on future value. You've got to buy it based on performance. Or if you're going to buy it for future value, you've got to buy it low enough to be able to put your rehab cost in it, get it up to where it needs to be, what it's worth in order to have a really good substantial cap rate for performance, right? So that is what cap rates are. That's how we use them. That's how we view them. And that's how we come up with numbers for them, all right? That's how we generate them. So a quick overview, back of the napkin math, you take your monthly lease cost per unit and you times that over 12 months. And then quick math would be just take 50% of it, chop it in half, right? If it's grossing $10,000 a year, then say you're going to put $5 in your pocket after that and take that number and divide it by your all-in purchase price, including closing costs, rehab, whatever, your all-in number, and that will give you the cap rate. And that's what we were discussing here today. I'm going to go over these notes and make sure I touched all of them. Says we were discussing cap rates. How does it apply to multifamily? How do I figure out cap rates? What we should be buying at? And then, of course, there's so many questions out there with cap rates and how different people do them. And this is, of course, how we do it. So pretty short and simple there, guys. Of course, there's a lot of deep dive when you get into some really, really big multifamily stuff. Again, it's not what I do. So I don't speak to it. I speak to what I understand and know and have done. So I can stay in the lower end stuff and know that works. And the stuff that we own, we've dealt with, and we see these numbers work time and time again. Quick back of the napkin math allows you to not waste a lot of time. If you have a seller says they need $500,000 for the building and it grosses $50,000 a year, we already know we're not even close. So hopefully this was helpful, guys. One thing I want you to remember is if you're interested and you're in the area, please check us out at wholesalingoutoftthebox.com. Go to the event section, and you guys can come check us out on our private meetings that we have. We do have a ticket price over there. It's $37. We're there for 2 hours. And the first hour, we go over all this kind of stuff, especially about multifamily is what we're going to be going over. And then the second hour is going to be nothing but role play. How to talk to sellers, how to overcome objections. It's a big part of these meetings that we do, and we hear really good feedback on it. People love the role playing. It allows them to see what it sounds like, feels like, and being in that situation on a phone call that's just really uncomfortable. And a lot of people freeze up, right? So they don't know any better. So, guys, if you're interested, please check us out, wholesalingoutoftthebox.com. Go to the event section and grab a ticket. And looking forward to meet you guys over there and hopefully get to meet you in person. If not, we do have a Zoom link available that you can join us there as well. So, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I really appreciate it. As always, if there's any questions, leave us comments on this show. We've been doing these for quite some time. We're probably going to cap them out at the end of the year and be done with this show and start a new one. But thank you guys so much for being here and taking the time to listen to us. If there's any comments or feedback about this, please leave them in the section so we can come back and have other people respond to us and let us know the way you do it, or maybe some things that you would fix on top of what we just talked about, of how you do your numbers and come up with your cap rates. Would love to hear some feedback. Guys, thanks again so much for taking the time to hang out with us. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Later.